one of the things that I wanted to mention is, see, what we do not think about when we think of history is the power of ideology. And when we say ideology, we think of like Marxism or socialism, but bhakti was also an ideology, and this was very, very cleverly used by a lot of rulers. So spiritually there is a change, and I'm not going into that area, but you can also see that you have religious power being used, I wouldn't say misused, but used by kings so as to keep the empire intact, because you cannot have the army everywhere, you cannot have you cannot coerce people into obeying you. And unlike the case today, all of us are patriotic, all of us believe in the idea of India. So if the government of India issues an order, we are like, okay, we are an Indian, we are supposed to obey the rule. I mean, we might fight against it, we might write against it, but at the end of the day, if government of India comes with a rule, we obey it, and we understand that that is part of our legal system, and you need those rules and regulations. But 1,000 years ago, people didn't have a constitution. There was no penal code. Why would common people, peasants, or people who are traders obey the king? There has to be a mutual give and take, right? So the king would give them benefits. So it might be land grants, or it might be subsidies, or it might be a share from the revenue. So you had all these economic measures, but you also would have like the king embracing the religion of the people, showing that he's one of them. And that is why in, let's say, in pre-colonial history of India, particularly southern history of India, you would see not just southern history, even in North Indian history, you would see uh, kings changing or dynasties changing their religion one generation after the other. So for instance, if you look at Chandragupta Maurya, he pretty much followed the Jaina tradition. He came all the way to Chandragiri in the south and fasted to death. The Sallekkhana practice, okay. I'm assuming I should be giving more.
No?
No, okay. So he was a Jaina. Now, and then his son, Bindusara is supposed to have followed the Ajivika sect. Now, what is Ajivika sect? They were a new sect which believed in living in the moment. That's a sect that I love.
YOLO.
Yes. So they did not think about repercussions. They did not believe in an afterlife. And they believed that, you have one life, one birth. So make the most of it. So that is why Ajivika. And then one generation later, you have Ashoka. And Ashoka embraced Buddhism. You would see this in the south as well. Similarly, you have kings who would give grants, or who would support and give patronage to multiple religious traditions. The Cholas, for instance, you would see that they're giving land grants to the Jains, they're giving grants to the Buddhists to set up viharas, but at the same time, a lot of the most beautiful Shaiva temples were also built by the Cholas. You can see the same in Chalukyas. For every set of temples that the Chalukyas built, invariably for every 2 or 3 temples, you would have a Jaina temple as well. And these were thought of as part of the same cultural complex. So I don't know whether you have traveled to Badami. If you have not, you should go. You will love it there. So from the outside, the Badami cave temples, they will look like just a hillock with some pillars. Now you enter it, and it's like a new universe opening up. Some of the most intricate and elaborate craftsmanship in stone can be seen inside these cave temples. For instance, you have the Mahishasura Mardini, Vishnu as Trivikrama. Trivikrama is where, the Mahabali myth, the Vamana avatar. So Vishnu assumed the Trivikrama form with 3 of his steps covering.
Yes.
So you have that being visually depicted and in larger than life scale. So you have 8-foot tall frescoes being carved into the mountainscape. It's not standalone idols. You would see stone being used, and the crevasses in the stone being used to tell a story. Like you have in Elephanta, but to the scale is different, and the ornateness is also quite different. But along with Trivikrama Vishnu, and along with Vishnu sitting on Ananta and Mahishasura Mardini and Shiva's Ardhanarishwara, you would also see a cave dedicated to Bahubali from the Jain pantheon. You would also see an unfinished cave dedicated to Buddha or an earlier bodhisattva. The bodhisattvas are incarnations of Buddha before he assumed the Buddha form. So you have an Avalokiteshvara idol there.
Avalokiteshvara. You know, the Dalai Lama is supposed to be a modern day incarnation of Avalokiteshvara.
Avalokiteshvara.
That's how.
Okay.
That's how Tibetan Buddhists look at
They
him.
do have the belief in reincarnation.
If you enjoyed this clip from the Ranveer show, we've uploaded a ton of other clips related to a ton of other topics. So explore the channel because there's something for everyone.